Okay. So again, hello, everybody. I had a great week. I had a new level of understanding in my healing of my mind. And I was kind of excited about sharing. And then I always do the ACIM now has an oracle, and I love hitting that. And it was perfect for what I wanted to share. So I just want to share two sentences from chapter 31, recognizing the spirit. Okay. You see flesh or recognize the spirit. There is no compromise between the two. Okay, again, this is Jesus, and Jesus just doesn't mince words. Jesus is, at least that's what I say. I didn't start out loving Jesus, but man, I really appreciate having him on my team. So there's no compromise between the two, recognizing spirit or seeing flesh. Now, seeing flesh is actually seeing the dream of death. I call it the virtual reality of life, the so-called life that we are living. That's usually seeing flesh. I find myself now, for whatever reason, I don't see flesh anymore. I really see minds. I'm joining at the level of mind, for whatever reason. But this week, a situation occurred, and it was so subtle. Hi, Carol. I'm going to share a story that you probably already have heard, but I'm going to share it anyway. I was at Namaste at breakfast, and this absolutely beautiful woman came and sat down next to me. And I don't usually see physical beauty versus not physical beauty. Again, it's kind of like I just see mind. Well, this woman was physically just, it was kind of like she took my breath away kind of beauty. And I don't know how old she is, in her 50s probably. Anyway, I actually mentioned it to her, and I thought, I wonder what nationality she is. So I asked her, what nationality are you? And she says, well, I'm from Iran. And as soon as she said that, I started getting teary-eyed. It's like I had tears coming up. And I thought, wow, this is interesting reaction. And we talked a little bit longer. And, she was saying, she came over in 78. Maybe many of you may not remember, but 78 was when the Ayatollah Khomeini took over the democratic regime of Iran, for lack of a better word. And it was the first, maybe not the first, but close to the beginning of my human rights fighting. And I was very much involved in that particular situation, doing a lot of, back then we were writing letters and making phone calls. There was no emails, there was no computers. But I remember as soon as she said she was from Iran, this picture popped into my mind. And I was living in a little tiny town in Jerome, Arizona. And I remember the house. I remember where I was standing. I remember seeing, I had a little tiny TV set. And on the TV set was, as the Ayatollah was coming into the palace and taking over. And it was a regime change. So it basically was going from what I saw as a good regime, democratic, to a bad regime. Those that, had Sharia law, okay? And I remember that moment when she said she was from Iran and she came over during 78, during that, I saw myself in this moment in time. And it was, it's a later stage of healing a very big belief that has driven me my whole life. And the belief is that I can assist in someone's suffering. I can assist in getting rid of someone's suffering. I can make things better. There's a lot of legs on this particular belief, okay? And I've worked on a lot of it. I mean, my whole chiropractic career was fixing broken people, okay? So there's been a lot of healing over the years in this. And so this was kind of a surprise. I knew I was healing because I'm either happy or I'm something else. And if I'm something else, I'm in ego land. So these tears coming up was an immediate red flag of, oh, we need to do some healing here. And it's not even, I don't even think I said that. I think healing is coming. I mean, I feel like I'm out of control with my healing. It just is automatic at this point. So I wasn't happy. I had tears coming up. And I flashed on this scene, and it was kind of in the early stages of this very big belief that has driven, literally driven my life from consciousness on, of always to find an underdog and take them on and make their life better. Okay. And it has given me nothing but grief my whole life. And it's in constant healing stage now, because I can't heal anybody, including myself. I can't make things better for anyone. This is Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is the only one that can do that for me. And that's why the prayer is so profound. We have to ask for help. So, of course, the tears started welling up in my eyes in front of this absolutely beautiful Persian woman. And I'm thinking, wow, this is deep. This is like, because I hear this all the time from people, and I can't help but laugh when I hear it. Oh, I got it. I'm done. I don't do ego anymore. It's like, yeah, right, whatever. If that works for you, I'm very happy for you. But what I have found for myself is I use happy as my gold standard. If I'm happy, great. Keep going. Keep doing whatever you're doing and enjoy. But as soon as I slip from happy into anything, sadness, there was someone this week that was so angry. I can't remember what they were angry about, but I remember just thinking, praying, Holy Spirit, help them see differently. Because see, I do this prayer for everybody. If people are around me that aren't happy, I pray for them. Holy Spirit, help them see that differently, whatever that is. And I don't even need to know what it is. In fact, I'd prefer not to know, because I've got enough to occupy my own mind with keeping it clear. So it's this recognizing the spirit versus seeing flesh with the eyes. And the determination in that is, if I'm happy, I'm in spirit. If I have any other feeling other than happy, confusion, sadness, anger, grief, you name it, then I'm seeing flesh, because there's something in the virtual reality land that's hooking me. And so the only thing I can do is God, I've been doing this since early on, when I first started this journey, when I was in hospice going, I don't have a clue what to do. The one thing I knew back in hospice, I was not happy. Not happy. Not even remotely happy. And so I've ever since, I've used that as the gold standard. And I don't even need to ask myself, am I happy anymore? It just slips and I have some feeling other than happy. And I ask Holy Spirit to see it immediately. I don't wait for the right moment or to get on my knees or have the correct position or whatever. It's like I immediately, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. I slipped off of happy. And it's kind of like, and then Holy Spirit takes me on a journey. Now, really in the beginning with this, I had to really show up with a lot of commitment because it wasn't automatic. Now it's very automatic. But initially I had to really stay vigilant on my thinking, on my thoughts. Now it's like my eyes well up and I go, whoa, hold on. You know, this woman just said she was from Iran and I well up with tears. And it's like, and just seeing, and it was while she was talking, I was clearing it for myself. It was like, oh yeah. You know, I was early 20s, I think. I don't know. But I really had such a strong belief that if we all acted nicer to each other, the world would be a better place. Now, in the world of the dream of death, this sounds like a very noble thing. But in mind training, it's like, who the hell do you think you are? You know, the only one you have to be responsible for, honey, is you. Leave everyone else alone. And this also came up with there was a woman that was talking about children. And I know we've had other questions about children. And I see that concept of being a parent or a grandparent or, you know, some family member. The concept of that is just as big as the concept I'm sick. And it's a big one. Lots of legs, lots of healing is necessary. And all I can say is every time something pops in, oh, pray, ask for help. You can't do this on your own because we don't even know. I mean, yes, I believed in sickness because I saw it. It was real. I love it when people come in, particularly when I first start with them if they're sick. They say, but this is real. I know. Yeah, I've been there. It's real. And it's only because we don't know how to see it differently. And once we move away from seeing the flesh to recognizing the spirit, miracles abound. But it's this recognizing the spirit that can be tricky initially, because initially you may be recognizing pain or illness. Initially, you could be recognizing suffering children, particularly sons and daughters. And it's kind of like, and you know, I was just working with this woman on this one because she kept thinking when I was saying, stop trying to fix them, that she was supposed to stop loving them. You know, there was some kind of collapse that was happening. And I kept, and she finally got it. I said, I am saying love them with everything, with every breath, but don't make their fear real. And it's the same way I work with sick people now. Love them with everything, but don't make their illness real. Because as soon as you do that, and that's called agreement, I agree your headaches are real, or I agree your son is suffering. Then you've got a whole mess to clean up because you're seeing flesh and there's no recognition of the spirit there. And so that's going to mess with you. Chapter 31, recognize the spirit. And it's just, you know, there's no other way to do this but practice, 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 practice. And when you think you've done all the practice that you need, continue to practice, practice, practice. Because you'll find yourself in front of someone and they'll say, hi, my name is blah, blah, and I'm from Iran. And you'll notice your eyes filling up with tears. Guess what? It's another healing opportunity. That's it. So I just want to really gift everyone that hears this voice is if you're not happy, and be real honest about that, because the sooner you're honest about that, the quicker you can get out of your suffering. That you may not even see yourself as suffering. You're just, you know, it was like, God, before I started the mind training and they put me into hospice, I was, I mean, now I look back on it, I was deeply depressed. I didn't want to feel anything. It's like, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. I was so resigned. I resigned. So I wasn't feeling anything, but I didn't know I wasn't feeling anything. I was making the dream all too true because I was sick. So I was completely lost in this concept called I'm sick. And I couldn't see anything other than that. Spirit was unavailable. Again, the second sentence, there is no compromise between the two. You're either seeing flesh or you're recognizing spirit. No compromise between the two. You can't do both. This is Jesus. This isn't me. I just follow what Jesus says because it seems like a really good idea. So just, you know, in the morning when you're doing your little prayer and meditation, which I hope you are, ask it, am I happy? Am I happy? It's a quickie. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. There's not a lot to think about or memorize. Am I happy? And if the answer is yes, great. Have a good day. Go on. Dance. And if you have to pause before you can answer the question, the chances are good you're not feeling happy. And it would just be easier for you to say, no, I'm not happy. Holy Spirit, help me see what's surfacing. Because a lot of times it takes these beliefs time to become conscious in our awareness. Many times I mean, what with the breathing issues it took me 3 months of praying pretty much 200 times a day before I was able to see the belief that I needed to breathe. So it's like, just hang in there with this. You know, it's not always immediate. I mean, for me, the cancer, I mean, realistically, the cancer took me about on a 10-year journey. You know, there were so many layers to it, so many beliefs, so many legs, I like to say, on this belief that I was sick. And I'm still healing with it. You know, the foreclosure. Well, that was at least a 4 or 5 year ride before I could let go of the idea something had been done to me and something had been taken away from me. And so all I can say is hang in there. It's well worth your time. You are worth the time you put into this. it's all Jesus wanted for any of us. It's all God. Well, God doesn't want it because God just sees us as love, period. But it's all Holy Spirit wants for you. Because Holy Spirit can't do anything without us asking for help. And if we're not asking for help, we just suffer longer. That's all that happens. And I say, you're worth having a completely suffering/pain-free existence. And it's called waking up while in the dream. So, okay. Yeah, I'll go there. So the fastest way is to die, quite frankly, really. Because what happens when you die? You go into the eternal mind of God, where you are just a loving thought. Okay? So this is kind of reframing the whole death concept. And if there's grief coming up, I say have the grief. Don't block the grief, but know there's a lesson you would learn in the fact that you're having grief. This is not to beat yourself up with it. It's to welcome it. It's like, thank you. Okay, I've got another lesson. And it has to do with fear of death or fear of suffering or fear of whatever is coming up. And it's just the main thing. And again, this is the toggle squid. I remember, I don't know why I'm thinking this. We had this Lionel train as kids. My brother had one. I played with it all the time, but it was his. And at one point, there's a little toggle switch that you could do. So instead of going right, it would go left. And all I can say is your little magical toggle switch is to recognize you're not happy. And then the toggle switch is, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Allow this belief up. This is no longer helpful. Not that it ever was helpful, but this whole idea that, I could end the suffering of another, the gigantic belief, gigantic, consuming belief with a lot of legs. How is this landing for everybody? Okay. Any questions? Yeah, I think the one thing I want to repeat, because this can be a huge one. We're not bad or wrong with anything we think. It's all beautiful. It's all perfect. Oh, it says we're running out of time. Thank you, Zoom. Now open up the email. So just the automatic for newbies working with their minds, the automatic is to come back and abuse ourselves with, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Stop doing this. Don't do that. This is not about abusing anybody, others or you. Okay. And Nuria, I see you have a question. So you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want. We have 10 minutes left before we have to go out and come back in. Yes.
I do. Hi, Calico. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here finally. So I have more than a question. It's I'd like you to talk more on how to not see flesh and see spirit. So how do we walk in life like that?
happy. You
Thanks.
walk in life happy. That's that's the difference. And you know, I try to keep this as simple as possible because I have a very simple mind and I needed it very simple. If I'm happy, great, keep walking, do whatever, just enjoy everything. But if there's any sense of urgency or depression or confusion or any of those other feelings, apathy, whatever, that's when you stop and pray. And you know when to pray because every time this thought comes through, God, I'm confused. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then you'll be fine for a while. And then all of a sudden, God, this doesn't make sense. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. I mean, I can't make it any simpler than that. It really is just keep doing it because turning around this virtual reality into something that you see as not real. So you no longer see flesh. When you uncover the virtual reality-ness of this life, you are only seeing spirit at that point. There is very little, except every now and then you'll get tears in your eyes and you'll know you have something to clear, but it's really just removing the mask of the ego. And it couldn't be simpler. Am I happy? Great. Go forth, go shopping, do whatever, go with God. If any thought comes in, ooh, these people are so slow, or ooh, I hate my mother, or ooh, my foot hurts. Stop immediately. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And it's just with seeing our thoughts. We're not working with anything out here. We're working with how we react to it in our minds, which is not even our brain. We'll talk about that sometime. Our brain is not our mind. This is the eternal loving mind of God that we're making a choice going, wow, I seem to be suffering. Perhaps I should go into the eternal loving mind of God. That might be a good idea. And the way you do that is, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then it unwraps all these beliefs that we all have. They're not bad, they're just what is. And then once you start unwrapping them and see how easy it is, it really is easy. And you don't need to know anything. This is not about how smart you are. Someone said that this morning. She's saying, you're so wise. And I said, oh my God, you have no idea. I've had to let go of anything that I thought made me wise. I am probably the most clueless person I know right now. And that's a beautiful thing. But I've had to let go of this I know mind. And if you're in a conversation with someone and you know there's something you have to share to them to give them, a piece of information that they don't have and that's going to make their life so much better, stop. Stop immediately. And this is where I practice the rule of zip it, because that's coming from the I know mind. And the I know mind doesn't know squat, except how to keep this virtual reality thing real. And what we're all attempting to do here with the Course in Miracles mind training is to make it what it is. It's virtual reality. Take the glasses off. And it couldn't be simpler. And it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done. because I had to completely reorient my focus to my thoughts. There was nothing out here to give me any information. The only information I need is, what am I thinking? And you'll come across big beliefs. Everyone has their big beliefs. I mean, mine, is I wanted to make life better for everybody. If you have that one, bless you. You've got lots of beautiful beliefs to unwrap. And all I can say is, by continuing to unwrap these beliefs and ask for help from Holy Spirit, things will shift dramatically. Dramatically. Yeah. I was watching some show and it was there was an angry person on it. I love angry people because I can so relate to them. The anger just was covering up terror, because I know this one. I was angry and I was covering up a lot of terror about a lot of things. And that's why I decided to end it all with terminal cancer and deep resignation. I don't recommend it. There's another way to do this. And that's why you're tuning in for this little show that we do every week. Okay? So with that, because we're running down in our time here, I'm learning Zoom. For all those that didn't hear this, Zoom is helping me see everything differently. So what we need to do is, we all need to get off this call, and then you click on the link again, because it only gives me 40 minutes, no matter how much I tell them I paid a lot of money to them. Then we'll click in again and we can all have one-on-ones and it won't be recorded. Okay? So goodbye for now, everybody, and all you on YouTube. And for the rest of us, I'm going to end the call and then click on the link again, come back in. Okay? Bye.